Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
What we do like to do in this country is, when it comes to our news culture, is we love to complain about race. Race is our favorite topic. If ever you do a talk radio show and you want to say, can you believe what they said about this? You're not going to. People go berserk, especially if you can show a difference in treatment as to a subject matter. How come you can say this and I can't? How come you can do this but we can't? Why is it okay for you to say that but I can't? Now, I'm going to give you an example of what Michelle Obama said. And I want you to think about it and tell me what's wrong with what she said. Now, by the way, first of all, Michelle Obama should every day drop to her knees, kiss the ground she is standing on, and thank God that she lived in a country that was not careful enough to allow her husband, by the way, her husband is not a dumb guy, to let her who nobody bargained for her, nobody voted for her. I don't know how many people, she's kind of like, she reminds me of the Erica Kirk. She thinks people love her. She thinks she's groovy and hip, and people want to know what she thinks. I mean, it's bizarre. Bizarre. So let me read this to you. This is from I think this is fantastic. Listen to this. Former First Lady Michelle Obama argued, now tell me what's wrong with the logic of this, argued that getting accepted into college for being a star athlete is no different than being accepted due to affirmative action policies. There is a glaring problem with it. During Wednesday's episode of Mrs. Obama's IMO podcast, have you heard that, by the way, Blaze? Anybody? Have you heard IMO? Does anybody have? Come on, you must have heard this. Come on, couple of hipsters like you, a couple of hep cats. I remember she and her brother, I think is more frightening than she is, but she was on and she was with comedian Josh Johnson. I don't know who this is. And they spoke about his own experience as a young black comedian and writer, and sometimes being the only black person in the room. You see where this is going? You see where this is going? Michelle Obama should drop to her knees every day and say, thank God she got into Princeton or Harvard. She is not a mind. She is not a witch. She is not sapient, sagacious. She is not the brain trust by any stretch of the imagination. She makes Jeffrey Epstein sound like Edward Whitten in comparison. By the way, I every now and then I'll catch a clip of the interview he did with Steve Bannon, and I never realized that Epstein's a cretin. So during this, he was talking to this poor black comedian. And by the way, she also should be thankful for it because she got into Princeton. She got into whatever it was. Why? Because she's black. Not because she's the smartest person. Not because of anything. No. You know it and I know it. And that's why they adhere so much to this notion of DEI and the like. So she's talking to this comedian who talks about his own experience being a young black comedian. Do you think that's a problem today? Do you think young black comedians have hurt? Do you think so? Do you think being a young black comedian, who are the top names on Netflix? Who are the not playing? And tell me who of them are white. Louis C.K.? No. Chappelle? Chris Rock? Eddie Murphy? Who else? You want to go down the list? Let's talk about this because they're using an argument which really doesn't even apply. So what she said was, it's funny. It's funny because here we go. People talk about DEI. This is a comedian. And if you use the word like more than twice in a sentence, you're a cretin. But he says, quote, it is funny because people talk about DEI. And some of these initiatives end everything. And the people that's always, and the thing that's always funny to me about the outrage is that y'all already have the number. He argued that out of 100 people, 8 to 10 might be set aside for minorities or women. And then those positions are a source of outrage. He went on to argue that for many people, their belief is that were it not for these seats set aside, they would have gotten in. And he also suggested, she said that when a person is allowed into college because of some type of sports prowess or athletic ability, that's the same thing. No. Now we can argue whether there should be legacy or whether there should be sports consideration, but they're getting in because they're very good at it. There's no such thing as we're going to put you on a black team, or a football team or a sports team because you're black. It's got to be performance. You see, they hang on to this ilk, this stratum that doesn't seem to understand something. You can't deliberately have something set aside merely because someone is black or gay or whatever. I'm not even going to discuss that. I'm not even going to even attempt to discuss it because it is so axiomatic and it is so absolutely obvious, but they can't get away from this. It's something that they just cannot get away from.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.